Grand Rising, everybody. Grand Rising. I know it is early somewhere and somebody's getting up and getting started somewhere. So do me a favor, guys, as you jump on, drop that city and state, like that video, share the video. If you are not currently following us on our social media platforms and you happen to get like on TikTok or YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, cross follow. You can find us at all our platforms at the blanks spot. The blanks spot. Okay. So this is the blank spot. We are a sublimation blanks and t-shirt transfer supplier. We're located just outside of Columbia, South Carolina. And today I'm going to be talking about a few things. Okay. So what I want you guys to do is to kind of pay attention, especially if you're doing sublimation. I want you to kind of pay attention because there are some things, some key points that I want to hit about sublimation. Now, let me go ahead and share this video really quickly to our private group because there's a lot of people that do sublimation there as well. And we hope that they get this information and that it makes sense to them. So first off, today is $2 Sublimation Tuesday. What does that mean and what does it look like? That means that you can get tumbler wraps and you can get t-shirt transfers for $2. Okay, that means you're going to get two of them for $2. So if you order one transfer, you're actually getting two. You're going to drop 10 into your shopping cart, and that's going to be a total of $20, and you're getting two for $2. So you're ultimately getting 20 transfers for $20. So that's the great deal that we got for Tuesday, and that deal's been going on for a little over a year right now, and we're going to do our best to keep that deal going because we know that there's a lot of people who are still just getting started. People are still just finding us, and they're starting to follow us, and people want bang for their buck. Everybody wants to save some money. So we want to make it to where you guys can save some money, but we want to make it to where you're getting some quality products. And that's where I segue into the next part of the conversation. A lot of people don't know, especially if you're doing sublimation, a lot of people don't know that there are okay papers, there are good papers, and then there are great papers. Okay. So I'm going to talk about some okay papers, and then I'm going to talk about some great papers because I don't know about any good papers. So if you guys, if it's your first time here, type a number 1 in the comments. I know there's a lot of people that just going back to work after the holidays. You're probably still getting off the road from shopping. I know yesterday was a holiday from traveling. Excuse me. I know yesterday was a holiday, so a lot of people probably were off yesterday. But if it's your first time here, type a number 1 in the comments. If you've been here before, welcome back. Michelle, Grand Rising, thanks for jumping on. Sassy, thanks for jumping on. I appreciate it. Drop your city and your state. Let's come on, y'all. If y'all gonna be here, participate with me, right? Drop your city and your state. Double tap if you're on TikTok, like and share if you're on Facebook or YouTube. We're trying to get this thing out here. That's how you support small businesses. You don't support small businesses by buying. That's called business. You support small businesses by sharing our content, liking our content, and sharing. You know, if we're saying something good or doing something good for you, share it. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing started. Okay, I'm gonna get this thing started. There's a difference between good sublimation paper, or okay sublimation paper, good sublimation paper, and great sublimation paper. Now, a lot of you guys are crafting and you're doing sublimation for the first time. How do I know? Because I follow a lot of sublimation groups for beginners. And it's amazing how that every time I get on there, somebody's asking an interesting question. They're either asking, how can you sub on dark fabrics? They're wondering how can they get their tumbler wrap to connect? Or they're even asking things like, what do you use to stop your paper from bleeding to the top of your heat press? Okay. So I want to address that first of all. Before we do that, I want to go ahead and say that sublimation is a science. Okay. It's a science. It's not something that's easily learned. It's going to be even harder to learn if you walk into sublimation learning the wrong things. So we got people over here that's not, there you go. Come on in and participate. So if you are learning sublimation for the first time and you're walking into sublimation and you're saying, hey, you know what? I want to be able to sublimate on dark fabrics. Sublimation, true sublimation is not made for dark fabrics because there's no white ink. There's no white undertone. So there are things that they have created, corporations, big business, crafting industry. They've created different things that's going to help you to sublimate to place that thing onto a dark fabric, but you cannot sublimate directly to a dark fabric. There's no white ink in sublimation. So we say, hey, listen, you need to have a high polyester count. We use 100% polyester over here, a high polyester count so it can be vibrant. And then you want to make sure that that polyester is white, because you're not going to get a full color image to show up the way it looks on a colored shirt, okay, or colored fabric. So we recommend 100% polyester. The higher the polyester count, the better. We also recommend that you use white. Now, I'm not going to tell you that you can't do something. I'm just going to tell you what sublimation does, how it works, and what we recommend. So there is a blog on our site. If you're seeing us for the first time, there's a blog on our site. It's free to read. Education is the freest thing that's out there. Even though people are charging, they're charging for the knowledge of the experience of the knowledge, not the knowledge itself. So education is free. We pay for what we don't know. And I see people on social media paying every day, Mia, or Maya, I'm sorry. I hope I didn't mess that up. Maya, let me know. I see people paying every day on social media because they don't understand how sublimation works. We're trying to put a square peg in a round hole, and people are forcing it. And you know what's happening? The crafting industry is helping you to force it. So you got to know how sublimation works. It works best on light colors, preferably white. It works best on high polyester count, preferably 100% polyester. It doesn't work on cotton at all. If you choose to use a cotton poly blend, that's fine. But just know that it's not going to be as vibrant. The next thing is your paper matters. I don't care who told you to go use that specific paper, because that's how you got introduced to that paper. They told you to go use that paper. You know the paper, the one that starts with the A. They told you to go use that paper because that's the paper that they're using. Who was they? The crafter that was crafting before you. The person that was doing sublimation before you said, hey, well, this is the paper that I use. Or you went to social media, you went to Google, you went and looked, and because of a search engine optimization, that was the first product that popped up. That's an okay paper. And I don't mind saying it. It's an okay paper. What makes it okay? What makes it okay is that it doesn't transfer great. There's a lot of ink left on the paper after you have already used it. That's one thing. Another thing is, in order to get more ink off of the paper, you have to sublimate at a higher temperature, which can lead to you burning or scorching your substrates. Substrate meaning the thing that you're going to sublimate, right? And then the third thing that I found out about that paper that makes it not a great paper is that it bleeds. So what do I mean when I say it bleeds? It leaks. It bleeds onto the press, okay? That means that you have to use this. Does anybody know what this is? Type in the comments what you think this is. I'll give you a clue. Crafters who use subpar sublimation paper use this to cover their transfer. So anybody know what this is? Can anybody help me out? Butcher paper, that's right. Butcher paper or parchment paper is normally used to cover a transfer, a sublimation transfer, and that is because that paper is bleeding. And you know what happens? Crafters in general think, well, that's common. It's common that everyone uses butcher paper to protect their press from getting ink on it, right? Now, I know you're probably looking, you saying, hey, I've got a piece of Teflon up here. The reason I have this Teflon on here is because I damaged my heat press when I was doing some DTF stuff, okay? So don't worry about that. We'll talk about that later. But people are using butcher paper because it's common. And it's a common practice because the paper that you're using is bleeding. But just because it's common, that doesn't mean it's normal. Wanda over here says that she uses parchment paper. Just because it's common, that doesn't make it normal. When I was younger, I had high blood pressure. And because my family has a history of it, the doctor said, oh, well, it's common. But just because it's common and I have a family history of it, that doesn't make it normal. Are y'all with me? Common doesn't make it normal. Just because it bleeds and you have to commonly use parchment paper or butcher paper to stop the bleed, that doesn't make it normal. Now, since Wanda said that she uses parchment paper, I'm going to ask Wanda this. Wanda, did you know that sublimation paper is not supposed to bleed? It's not normal for sublimation paper to bleed. Also, and this is for everybody, did you know that all sublimation papers don't bleed? That means that you don't have to use butcher paper, which is going to be an extra added cost. And it's going to cost you more money so you can save more money. So everybody that was just jumping on, this is the blank spot. The Blanks spot. You can probably see our name back here. We are a sublimation blanks and t-shirt transfer supplier. We're located just outside of Columbia, South Carolina. And if you have not done so, please take some time out of your busy schedule and drop your city and your state to let us know where you tuned in from. Renee says, true. That's Tamara. Is that Tamara? Yeah, that's Tamara. How you doing? So, hey, Miguel, what's going on? Long time. So Tony said, I didn't know that. It's not supposed to bleed. Are you telling me that the only fix that I have to protect my heat press from a sublimation paper that bleeds is to put butcher paper on it, and that's my only hope? I have no other hope. I can't find a better paper? You mean to tell me that nobody else made a better paper? Nobody made a better paper? Let me share something with you. And someone asked me, what paper do we use? So if you haven't found out or figured it out by now, we are business owners. And one of the first orders of business that we did when we first got started back in 2021 was we researched. And when I say we, I mean my wife. We researched sublimation paper. Because the first paper that my wife ever used, it bled. And just like every other crafter that was doing sublimation, she just got in line, she got on the train, and she followed the person that was on social media, specifically YouTube at the time, sharing videos, and she saw them do this. They put some paper on the transfer, put the transfer on the substrate, and then they took this and they put this on top, and then they pressed. And she just followed suit until she was introduced to a paper that didn't bleed. And it made her think about something. If I can find, and this is just her words, paraphrase, if I can find a paper that doesn't bleed, then I can help a lot of people save a lot of money. I can give a lot of people a better opportunity to create a better product, and all is well. Rainbows and unicorns, right? So there's this popular paper out there. There's a couple of popular papers out there. And they have not done what they should do to improve their products. Why? Why do they have to? If there's only one grocery store in town, and every time you go to the grocery store, the lettuce is wilted and the apples are bruised, but it's the only store in town, people are going to still come back and shop. Am I right? Are y'all getting what I'm saying? Drop a number 3 in the comments if what I just said made sense. If I'm the only show in town and my profits are up and I have people sharing my product word of mouth saying that, hey, I've got the best product out there, then why should I improve? Well, that's kind of what happened. What happened was this product, and I'm not going to say that it was the best, but at one time, this product was probably the only product in town. It was the only one that stood out. So what happened was people ran from door to door. Crafters ran from door to door, from phone to phone, from messenger to messenger, from post to post, and they were getting free advertisement about their sublimation paper. And they were getting people to say, hey, well, what paper do you use? Well, I use ASUB. I use Koala. I use X, Y, and Z. Thanks for the gift. And they said, but when you use the paper, you got to make sure you have some butcher paper or some parchment paper. Nobody asked why. They just started doing it. Until one day somebody forgot to use parchment paper. And they pressed their sublimation shirt. And they were fine. And then the next sublimation shirt they pressed, they saw some residual ink. They saw the bleed. They said, oh, that's why I have to use parchment paper. Because the paper that the transfer is on that I'm currently using, it bleeds back up through the heat press, which means it's ultimately sublimating backwards. I like that. It sublimates backwards. But nobody has a problem with it because it's an inexpensive paper, because most people shop for price before they shop for quality. But a lot of people not thinking that if I have to buy a pack of paper and I have to keep on buying sheets to cover it, I'm paying the same price. Somebody's going to get that in a minute. If I'm paying $20 for 115 sheets of paper, and then I'm paying another $10 for parchment paper or butcher paper sheets, I'm still paying $30. If not more, right? I'm still paying. So you're not saving money. You're not saving money. But you can only use it on sublimation machine, right? So sublimation paper is for sublimation, absolutely. Just like DTF film is for DTF. But the point that I want to make, and I don't want you guys to get me off track, I want y'all to stay on track. I appreciate the interaction. Like the video, share the video, drop your city and state. We're the Sublimation Blanks and T-shirt transfer supplier located just outside of Columbia, South Carolina. We are talking about three things today. One, it is $2 Sublimation Tuesday. We're printing our sublimation transfers to sell to you. They're ready to press on paper that does not bleed. Therefore, you don't need this. This is irrelevant. But if you want to use it, just in case you want to protect it, just in case you just don't get it, just in case your mind doesn't set in, you can keep on using this over and over again because our paper doesn't bleed. Or you can decide to use what we don't recommend with the other paper. You can decide to use a Teflon sheet because our paper doesn't bleed. And that Teflon can stay on there just to protect your heat press, but not just to protect your heat press, to protect your substrates or anything else that you're pressing. Because you may not want that direct heat to hit your garments. And that's okay. But there's three things I'm going to talk about. One is $2 Sublimation Tuesday. Go to the site, check us out, scroll down to the front page, scroll down all the way down till you see, excuse me, $2 Sublimation Tuesday. Put 10 in your shopping cart. You're going to get 2 of each of the same transfer and you're out the door. We got a whole bunch of different genres. Okay. Oh man. Black History, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day. We got Easter. We got Mother's Day. We got all types of stuff. All right. All types of stuff. So check us out. Now, that's one thing. The other thing I want to talk about is the blank spot sublimation paper. We do sell our own paper because my wife said, hey, you know what? I want to create a product that crafters don't have to spend a lot of money. They can get good results and they can have a good product. So I'm going to read this. It says, and we just rebranded this paper, y'all. And this paper is available in 4 different sizes. Okay. 4 different sheet sizes. We're going to talk about that. It's the bleed-free sublimation paper. Y'all see that? That's what we named it. It's no longer the blank spot. It's the bleed-free sublimation paper. Okay. Now, it's 120 GSM. I was waiting on that. I need you guys on TikTok to keep liking because I just got a restriction, guys. So keep on double tapping that screen to get this information out. It's 120 GSM. Okay. This packet comes in 100 sheets. 8.5 by 11, 8.5 by 14, 11 by 17, and 13 by 19 sheets. We also have 8.5-inch rolls that are tacky, that's sticky. That means it's heat activated sticks, and 13-inch rolls that are sticky. And then we have 24-inch rolls that are dry, fast dry. But it says 99% bleed free. So since they already did that, I'm going to go ahead and do this. 99% bleed free. No butcher paper needed. Fast drying. 95 to 98% transfer rate. That's what we're talking about today. Okay. That's what we're talking about today. Now, I love this because my wife went a little bit further. This is her blood, sweat, and tears. When you talk about branding, you don't just put something out there and say, hey, I'm just going to brand it. You do your research. You do your homework. I like this because she put her sweat into this. But here's the thing. We don't have a lot of money. Our business is just a regular small business. We don't have the tens of thousands of dollars to do market research. Thanks for the gift. We don't have the hundreds of thousands of dollars to do marketing. So we use social media, and we count on people that we meet on social media to help us out, to share our stuff. But these larger corporations, these larger businesses that are pushing out subpar projects or products that you continue to buy because you say, well, there's nothing else out there. That's not true. We took our money and put it into our product. So every piece of paper that we sold over the last 2 years went directly back into our paper so that we can brand our paper, not just the pretty box. But we got something else that we did. Not just the pretty box. But when we first did our paper, we didn't have a watermark. We now have a watermark. And when I tell you guys that's expensive, this is not a flex. It costs a lot to get this together so we can actually share this with people who said they wanted to use our paper. We took our money, put right back into our business to brand our product. The other company is taking their money and they're putting it into their pocket. They're not doing market research to improve their product. They're not trying to say, hey, you know what? We're going to make a product to where you don't have to use butcher paper. They're not doing that. What they're doing is saying, hey, and y'all, please don't get mad at me when I say this. I already got them. I already got my customer base. I'm going to throw a rock and hide my hand and they won't even see it, because why should I have to create another product or a better product? Because you're going to keep on shopping with me. That's what they're saying. They're saying that as long as I keep the price low, the customer's okay. The customer doesn't care about quality. That's what they're saying. They don't think you're smart. They think you're simple. There was a lady that I made a post the other day on Facebook. Made a post the other day on Facebook about our paper. And I'm going to read that post and then I'm talking about the third thing, okay? The post simply asked a question. It was a simple question because people are very touchy about the decisions that they make. Not everybody makes great decisions, but people are very touchy about the decisions that they make. Okay? And I asked the question, and the question was simply, what paper are you using? Something like that. Let me see if I can find this thing. Y'all bear with me. As you jump on, if you haven't done so, drop your city and state, like the video, and share the video. We are a sublimation blanks and t-shirt transfer supplier located just outside of Columbia, South Carolina. And today is $2 Sublimation Tuesday. Now, here's the question. What do you all use so the sublimation ink doesn't get on your press? That's what I asked. Okay. Now somebody said, and I said, hey, we don't have to use any butcher paper. That's what I said. We don't have to use butcher paper. She said, and this is, listen, guys, this is sheer ignorance. The definition of ignorance is not to know. She said, my heat press costs too much for me to take a chance. But your heat press doesn't cost too much to use this little thin piece of paper. Make it make sense. You telling me that this little thin piece of paper is going to stand between you and the bleed? That's what you're telling me? They don't think y'all smart, man. These companies don't believe that y'all are smart. Mr. D. Wood, what's that? So, the last thing I'm going to do, I've already printed on our paper, okay? You see that? This is the blank spot sublimation paper. I printed on our paper. Y'all see that? I'm going to press. Now, I'm pressing on our shirts. Now, I've already pressed on this shirt. This is one of our transfers on one of our shirts. We also sell sublimation shirts, 100% polyester with a cotton feel. That's what she said, Tamara. She said her heat press costs too much, and she's just not going to risk not using a cover sheet. Now, I don't doubt that her heat press didn't cost a lot, and I don't doubt that she shouldn't protect it with somebody else's paper, but it's not necessary with our paper. Okay, if anything, you'll be protecting your substrate, not your heat press from bleeding. But this is our shirt. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this again live with this print, and I want you to see how vibrant it comes out. But also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, just so y'all can understand, I'm going to put some butcher paper over this, because if it bleeds, you'll see it on the paper, right? Drop a number 4 if you believe me. If you use a paper that bleeds, you can see it on the butcher paper, right? Or the partial paper, right? Drop that number 4. Let me know. If you use a paper that currently bleeds, you'll be able to see it on that paper, right or right? Okay, they're my number 4s. So now, I got this heat press set at 379 degrees. One other thing why I like this paper, we got it set at a lower temperature, 379, 380, something like that. I got it set for 55 seconds. Here's the thing about our sublimation paper. You don't have to be at 5 million to make sure all the ink comes off the paper. You don't. You don't have to have a high temperature. You don't have to press for 60 seconds. Or I see people talking about 70 seconds, which is a minute and 10 seconds, or 90 seconds, which is a minute and 30 seconds. You're pressing that long, you're jeopardizing the fact that you might actually burn up your substrate. Okay? So I want you guys to study. I want you to do your research, and I want you to understand sublimation is a science. It's 7 things that's going to help your sublimation project come out right. The ink, the paper, the printer, the temperature, the time, the pressure, and the substrate. Okay? You don't have to have a $1,000 heat press. Using converted printers, that's cool if you're crafting. But if you want to get a better outcome, the colors are not going to be the best. You won't be able to see it until you see another transfer, okay? So what I'm going to do, I got this set at 379 for 55 seconds, okay? I'm going to pre-press this for 3 to 5 seconds. All right. I hope y'all can see this. I'm going to step to the side. Once again, if you're just jumping on, I'm going to press our paper transfer on to this shirt. There's no method behind the madness. Now I'm going to put, this is a half sheet. I want y'all to see there's nothing on here. Hope y'all can see. There's nothing on here. Okay? Clean paper, right? As a matter of fact, you know what? I want y'all to, can y'all see this over here? Yeah, can y'all see me back here? I'll do you one better. Because I don't want you guys to cry wolf and say, hey, he ain't telling the truth. I'm not gonna use a whole bunch of paper. I don't need to use any at all. So it's a clean sheet of paper, brand new. All right. I'm just gonna put this right in the middle. I don't need a lot. If it's gonna bleed, right? Let's go to work. Yeah, they're burning up shirts, but you can't tell people stuff because they've already been conditioned. Listen, the crafting community has already conditioned you. Those companies have already said, hey, listen, I'm going to sell you a cheap product and I'm going to keep you coming back. But there is a such thing as quality and affordability. This is it. This is where quality meets affordability. Our sub paper works on high polyester count. Listen, I want you to understand something. Good man. I want you to understand something. There's no such thing as does your sublimation paper work. I want to educate you real quick. There's no such thing as does your sublimation paper work on 60-40 or 70-30 or just sublimation and your poly with cotton. It doesn't work like that. That's not sublimation. Sublimation is for polyester. The higher the polyester count, the better your project is going to look. So when you decrease your polyester count, your fabric starts to look faded. So don't let anybody tell you that my paper works better if it's 60-40 or 70-30 or 50-50. There's no such thing. You're going to only get the better result if you have a higher polyester count. As you go lower with your polyester count, it's going to look faded. It's going to look vintage, okay? But to your question, our sublimation paper will work with that. But just know that 60% of the polyester is going to go into, the ink is going to go into 60% of the polyester. The rest of it is going to wash out, okay? It's going to wash out. So I want you to think about that. Steve. Yep, that's true. Steve says on Facebook, brainwashed is the key for big companies to make money. And I hear small business owners saying, hey, I don't want them making money off of me. That's what's happening. So hopefully that made sense to you. Hopefully that helped you out to understand. Please don't let anybody tell you that, hey, my paper works best on, this paper is always, any sublimation paper is going to work better on a higher polyester count, okay? So now, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to show you this paper. Do y'all see anything on that paper? But you have to understand, you have to understand, it doesn't matter if people prefer cotton. If they prefer cotton, maybe you should consider using a different process, because sublimation don't like cotton. So whether a customer says that they prefer cotton or not, you have to understand what sublimation is capable of doing. That's what I'm saying. It's your show. It's your business. It's your opportunity. It's your side hustle. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just telling you what sublimation is about. I'm going to show y'all again. This paper has no ink on it. Has no ink on it. That means it didn't bleed, y'all. Y'all see that? It didn't bleed. There's no ink left on the paper. Can y'all see that? No ink is left on the paper. Unlike a lot of the papers that you guys are probably using, you could probably print it again. And I never understood, press it again. And I never really understood that. I never understood when people ask, can you use your transfers twice? I now understand what people mean when they ask us, can you use your transfers twice? Listen, you can't use this transfer again. Maybe on A-Sub, because A-Sub has a lot of ink left on it. You can't use this transfer again. That's what we got. Don't worry about that's the other transfer on the other side. Our shirts are thick, so they won't bleed through. So I didn't have to put something in the middle. But you see how vibrant that is? These are our sublimation shirts, and they are currently available on our site. Grand Rising, John. So now when you take that and you put it up against this, you now see what ink? What ink? So I'm not a salesman. And if I was a salesman, I wouldn't be good at it. But I am a truth teller. And the ugly truth is this. The ugly, beautiful truth is this. Corporations, companies are either going to put out a good enough product, or they're going to give you a great product. That's just it. They're either going to give you just enough so they can save money on profit. They're going to cut it. Anybody that's been in the streets, you already know what I'm talking about. They're going to cut the product so they can make more profit, or they're going to go ahead and give you a good profit. A good product, and they may lose a little profit. But overall, what's going to happen is they're going to get volume. I'm not a salesperson, but what I am is a truth teller. And I just broke this thing down to you just now. You have to understand something. If you're going to be doing sublimation, and don't forget it's $2 Sublimation Tuesday. If you're going to be doing sublimation, you have to understand that sublimation works best with a high polyester count. And the question that you ask, Goodman, and I'm not picking on you, but the question that you ask is just like saying, hey, if I go to the Dollar Tree and I get a white mug, can I sub it? This is a question for everybody. Goodman asked me, does the paper work best, or does it work with 60-40 or 70-30 polyester? It's going to attach to the polyester. But can you go to the Dollar Tree and just pick up a cup? Can you go to Walmart and just pick up a cup and say, I'm going to sublimate it? Anybody? It's not a trick question. That cup has to have something in order for it to sublimate. Absolutely. Mary Jane, you can't. If that cup does not have a poly coating on it, if it has not been treated with some type of polyurethane, some type of poly coating, you cannot sublimate on it. So you can't just get any cup. Now, do they have some cups? They may have some stuff that you can sub. But that's the same concept with making garments. It's the same concept. If there's not a lot of poly in it, then it won't take. I'm just talking about any white cup. Please don't make this difficult. Please don't make it difficult. Because I'm not the big business. I'm the guy I'm the small business just like you. I'm the guy that's over here trying to tell the truth. So bottom line is this, guys. And I knew that was going to happen. It's 2026. All right. 2026. And it's still going to be out here. It's still going to be people out here, mainly crafters, that's going to be looking for the cheapest stuff. Listen, we ain't the cheapest. All right. We're not the cheapest. But I believe that we're the best. And at some point in time in your crafting journey, as you turn to a side hustler and as you slide to a business owner, possibly, you're going to want something better than what you have. If you believe that you can buy a pack of paper for $17, $18, $19 and then go and buy some sheets for $10, if you believe you only spend $17 on that paper or $18 or $20 on that paper, you're lying to yourself. Because you need your current paper, you need this to make this. And that's a concept we have to learn. Because I know these companies are not giving you butcher paper. See, that's the other thing. It'd be something different if they was giving you butcher paper because they know their paper sucked. Are they giving y'all butcher paper to use with their paper? I don't know. I mean, I'm just wondering. Anybody want to answer that? Nobody? See, if you needed to use butcher paper with our paper, we'll give you butcher paper. So if they ain't giving you butcher paper and you got to buy butcher paper, that's an extra cost. It's like buying a car. The car dealership ain't putting no gas in there. You still got to go get something. Absolutely, Mr. D. Wood. Now I'm gonna share this with you, right? This is my wife's vision. And she says, why choose the blank? She says, why choose our brand? At the blank spot, excellence is more than a promise. It's a process. Through extensive research and testing, we've developed a sublimation paper that delivers rich, vibrant color transfers without bleeding. That means a high transfer rate, no butcher paper needed. Designed for creators who demand precision, consistency, our premium sublimation paper provides and ensures each print is sharp, flawless, and full of life. Experience the art of sublimation, refined by science, perfected by the blank spot. Nothing beats the science behind our vibrant, bleed-free sublimation paper. That's that. That's it. That's all. All right. So if you're interested, our paper is available in 4 different sizes. We also have paper rolls, 13 and 18, 8.5 inch and 13 inch, which are sticky papers. They're for garments only. And then we have 24-inch roll paper for people who have 24-inch transfer printers. Then if you want to purchase our sublimation shirts are also available. Good afternoon, Pandora. Our sublimation shirts are also available. They are not branded. They only come with this tag. So that means you can clip this tag out and put your own brand in there, okay? These are 100% polyester with a cotton feel. Goodman, you'll like this. I think your customers will too. And then last but not least, guys, it's $2 Sublimation Tuesday. If you ain't getting no sublimation transfers for $2, then what you doing? You're going to get two for $2. Two of the same transfers. So like this transfer right here, when you go to order, you're going to put one of these in your shopping cart. You're going to actually get two. You got to put a total of 10 in there. You can mix and match whatever genre you want. Let me see. So that's all I got for you. All right. That was my live for today. I'm going to come back on later on and talk to you about some classes that we're having. But I expect nothing. I'm just keeping it 150. I have no expectations for people who look, for people who shop for price only. I have no expectations. At this point, thanks for your order. At this point in 2026, my expectations of people are at the bottom. But I hope that we said something today that's going to make you at least think twice before you make that next purchase. I hope that you think twice before you say, hey, you know what? I'm going to buy this pack of paper. And oh yeah, I got to buy this butcher paper. And next time you see me, I'm going to have that price as well. But I hope you think twice when you say, hey, you know what? I'm spending the same amount of money or more. All right. Softest in the industry. I take that, Steve. He's talking about our shirts. So I appreciate y'all for jumping on. I hope you got some value out of the conversation. I hope you got some value out of the demonstration. We are on YouTube, which is The Blank Spot. You'll be able to see this again, okay? So make sure you go to our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. You hit that bell to be notified when we go live, because you will not be disappointed, guys. We got videos on there that we've done different demonstrations and tutorials, all that good stuff. If you're somebody out there who want to do all over shirts, but you don't have the equipment and you want to outsource, we're outsourcing. You can outsource the all over t-shirts to us as well. And we also have some basketball jerseys, which is 100% polyester as well. So we got a lot of stuff, guys. Go to the website, check us out, theblankspot.com. Since I've been restricted already on TikTok. I tried, y'all. I tried. I was on there for a long time before they hit me with the restriction. But this is our website. If you can't remember that, go to the link in the description and you can see how you can shop with us. My name is, don't worry about it, this is The Blank Spot. We're a sublimation blanks and t-shirt transfer supplier located just outside of Columbia, South Carolina. And you've just witnessed the best doggone representation of a product that you probably ever seen. Like I always say, guys, when you know better, that's when you have the ability to do better. And the only knowledge that's powerful is properly applied knowledge. We'll see each and every one of you guys at the top, because there's entirely too many people struggling unnecessarily at the bottom. Peace.